Hey there, my name is Luke, and in this video I'm going to show you how to become a confident, in-demand reformer Pilates instructor without years of training, without burning a hole in your wallet, and also without you feeling like an imposter. And we're going to be together for about 20 minutes. And by the end of this video, I'm going to give you my 3 secrets that will show you how to teach reformer Pilates better than most instructors without being amazing at Pilates yourself. I'm going to show you how to gain an extra $20,000 a year for less than 6 hours a week of work, and also how to confidently build a room full of raving fans from your very first class. And we're going to cover all of that in less than about 10 minutes. So if I can get through those 3 things, then I think our time together has been a success. And if you stay to the end, I'm going to be popping up a link that will give you a guide that lays out an exact roadmap on how not only to become a qualified instructor, but also how to build a 6-figure Pilates studio within 12 months of opening your doors. It's not a coupon, it's not a sales program, not a subscription, it's an actual roadmap to being your own boss, which is pretty cool, right? Because you came here to learn about becoming an instructor and you're leaving with a blueprint to potentially own your own studio. Sounds awesome? All right, so we're gonna get started. So why should you listen to me? Well, I'm gonna put up an image now. This is me at my first clinic teaching Pilates. I didn't have a huge idea what I was doing. This is us today. We run over 40 classes a week. We have over 250 active paying members, and our memberships start at $48 a week. So you can do the maths on that one. We have 9 instructors. We've graduated over 100 instructors from opening our course within 6 months. I've built 4 clinics, 2 Pilates studios, 4 instructor programs, and we're currently rolling out the licensing for the KT studio model. And here's the part that shocks most people. I was never smart at school. I didn't get good grades. I wasn't the best athlete, but I figured all this out. So if someone like me can build this, and I can give you all the secrets and tips that I've learned over the last 15 years, saving you from making those mistakes, then there's no reason why you can't. So let's be honest, by the end of this video, you're not going to be a qualified reformer Pilates instructor. That takes a real course, and I will go through that course with you. But what you will have is something even more important. I want to try and instill belief that you can do this, because I started exactly where you are. I love Pilates, I saw what it did for my patients, and I wanted to share it with you. And then I had the chance to build a studio. It began simply as a way to sort of help my patients or add an extra service, maybe cover some of my clinic and studio expenses or costs. But I never expected it to turn into what it is today. And that's a studio that runs itself with 9 instructors, and it generates about $300,000 a year profit. So that's after expenses. Turnover is close to $450,000. So this allows me to take a week off or take 2 weeks off and still get paid. And I'm not telling you this to brag. I'm telling you this because, like you, I was curious, I was driven, I was looking for an opportunity, and I wanted more freedom. And now the income that we earn from our Pilates studio is the same as what I used to earn being a full-time practitioner treating 60 to 80 patients a week. And I'm not selling you a fantasy. You're not going to be in the Maldives, sipping a cocktail on a laptop, but what you will get is a new skill or a stronger body, a better training system, and an income stream doing something you love. The income could help pay off your bills. It could help pay off the mortgage. It could give you enough to save to buy a property, or it could just give you the freedom to take more holidays, or potentially it could be the first step to owning your own studio. So if you sort of think forward, or can you imagine in 6 to 12 months time, you're qualified, you're running your own studio. Like, how cool is that? If you can imagine what's true for me now is true for you then, like, what would that look like? How would that feel? Wouldn't it be awesome? Wouldn't you look back at this moment and go, I'm so glad I watched this video. I'm so glad I did this course. I should have done it sooner. So if that interests you, we're going to dive straight into secret number 1. And the first secret to becoming a confident, in-demand reformer Pilates instructor is you don't have to be amazing at Pilates to be an amazing teacher of Pilates. So I want to get that out of the way up front, right? So if you put 2 instructors in the same room, you're probably going to get 3 or 4 different opinions, because everyone has an idea on what real Pilates is or what the real Pilates method is. And one of the biggest beliefs circulating in the community is you can't teach unless you've been side by side with an amazing instructor mastering every single exercise. You've got to spend weeks, months, years along a professional or a master trainer, learning every single exercise with perfect control, and have them teaching you. Have them physically cue you, touch you where you're supposed to feel it. Only then can you be trusted to teach Pilates. So it's face-to-face training, endless hours, perfection first. That's the current belief. And here's the truth. They're 100% wrong. And if you don't believe me, let me prove it to you. So a couple of high-end coaches, or many high-end coaches, being NFL, NBA, NRL, they've won championship after championship without being amazing professional players themselves. On the other side of that, there's a couple of coaches that were professional players that have won championships, but they can't coach their team to victory. And why? Well, coaches coach and athletes play. So athletes tend to be focused on themselves. How can I be better, perform better? How can I be stronger? Coaches are focused on the outcome of the team. How can I get the best from my players? How do I inspire them? How do I push them further? How do we as a team win? So coaches will understand leadership, strategy, communication, motivation, correction, encouragement, teamwork. That's what wins championships, not having the prettiest technique. And it's exactly the same in Pilates. The best Pilates students don't automatically become the best Pilates instructors. Instructors need to be able to watch, observe, correct, guide, motivate, entertain, inspire, not necessarily perform every exercise perfectly. You don't need to master every exercise to teach it. So does that make sense? Like for me, that took a massive weight off or a massive load off the shoulders. And so it gave me that like, oh, actually I can be a good instructor. Great Pilates technique comes from going to classes, moving, sweating, learning the rhythm and feel of your own body. Great Pilates teachers is something else completely entirely. They understand how the body works. They know how to communicate to others. And if you're in the middle of trying to feel every exercise, plus cue yourself, plus coach the client, plus remember all the cues, plus advance it or regress it all at the same time with all the theory, your brain's going to explode. That's not how mastery is built. Mastery is typically built theory first. You learn the principles, you learn the teach, you learn the techniques, you learn the frameworks, and then the application where you do it yourself. You do your own training, you feel your own body, you learn what's happening. So when we did our training, it was weekend after weekend after weekend that was wasted time. It was all theory, all practical, all teaching, all instruction, all at the same time. It didn't make any sense. Whereas if it had have been, here's the structure, here's the framework, here's the theory, now that you've got that, here's how you apply it, here's how you do it, here's how you teach it. Well, that makes a lot more sense because you're getting the input before you can then deliver the output. You see, if you compare this to surgeons, in year one of college or uni, they don't start by cutting into people's bodies. They read textbooks, they study anatomy, they watch videos or simulations, they learn from research, they memorize frameworks, they might internally visualize what the surgery is like. And after years of that, then they observe surgery. And after years of observation, then they get to operate. Well, it's the same with Pilates. You learn the principles first, you build the frameworks, the structure, and then you take that into a studio, into a class setting. You don't need to be side by side, cued one-on-one, face-to-face with every instructor. It's the most inefficient method of absorbing information. And let's be honest, you probably don't have the time. The most efficient method is more of a hybrid. Learn the theory in your own time, followed by learning in your own space, or potentially face-to-face intensive workshops that we offer at KT. If you're around the Sydney region, you come to one of our master classes. Like, doesn't that sound more manageable, more realistic, and sort of works for like your lifestyle? So online allows for the flexibility of no travel time, no parking, no lost weekends, no juggling your schedule, childcare, or anything like that. You can stay in your own environment. You can rewatch the lessons as you need. You can participate in your own classes and feel what it's like to do these exercises. And the intensive master classes allow you to practice teaching the exercise as an instructor to other students. And you get to put it all together. That way learning happens on your schedule and the practical happens in a studio. And that's why the KT qualification works so well, because every one of our instructors follows this process. And I'm living proof. So during building my studios, I had 2 shoulder surgeries, 1 knee surgery. I previously fractured my spine in a few places. I had 3 bulging discs and 2 of them exploded. So there are Pilates exercises that I simply cannot perform today. I've taught classes in a sling. I've taught classes with my knee in a brace. I can't personally do a teaser. My legs are too big. My spinal fractures restrict my movement. So let me ask you, if I can't do that, does that mean I shouldn't teach? Am I not qualified or experienced enough to teach Pilates? Well, of course not. Because I can set the exercise up properly. I can teach the framework. I can cue every muscle. I can correct alignment. I can offer variations like progressions or regressions. I can coach each client to perform their best. And that's what makes an exceptional instructor. Not how pretty I look doing a certain movement. Instructors teach, clients perform, just like coaches and athletes. And that's the biggest shift I want to give you with this first secret. You do not need to be amazing at Pilates to teach amazing Pilates to people. You do need to be the best at helping people, because you can guide, you can observe, you can cue, motivate, inspire. If you can do that, you'll be an incredible instructor, even if you can never do the perfect teaser. Like, isn't that cool? Doesn't that sort of feel like the pressure's off? That if a guy who's half broken can teach pretty well, then you'll have no problems. So isn't that cool? Anyway, let's jump into secret number 2. So secret number 2 of becoming an in-demand instructor. Courses cost too much, I can't afford it. And this is one of the biggest beliefs that stops people from enrolling in our course or ever becoming an instructor. And it's completely understandable because courses vary from $3,000 to $10,000. And when we see a price tag, most of us sort of think automatically, I can't afford that, is it worth it, or I don't have that much money right now. But the problem is, more than likely you're using the wrong filter or the wrong perspective when you look at the price. See, many people are comparing this to like a commodity, like a bag or a watch or a phone. You're probably watching this video on a $2,000 iPhone, knowing that if you like bought it yesterday and sell it today, it's probably only be worth $1,000. You can spend $3,000 on a Prada bag, and if it breaks in a few months, you'd be pretty furious. But if it lasts years and everyone comments on it, you feel like you got your money's worth, even though it's probably worth less than what you purchased it for. But a qualification is not like that. It's not a commodity. It's not something that you use up. It's not something that depreciates or it doesn't go out of trend. A certification is a career path. It's a skill set. It's an identity. It's an appreciating asset that will pay you again and again and again. It's an income stream that will pay you every single week you teach. And there are very few things that you can buy that will give you the ability to earn money and create freedom, flexibility, meaning, and a lifestyle you choose from the get-go. And a Pilates qualification is one of them. So if I said to you, for every dollar that you invest in a KT reformer course, I will give you back $5, $10, or $20, you probably wouldn't be worried about the price of the qualification. You'd be more than likely asking, like, how soon can I get started? And that's what this is. So let me give you a few numbers that apply today. The average reformer Pilates instructor earns between $60 and $80 a class, and studios everywhere, I mean everywhere, I teach in every city, are desperate for instructors. And once you're certified, you decide how much you want to teach. Your schedule, your hours, your lifestyle. So even if you only taught 6 classes a week, which to be fair is pretty realistic, you'd earn between $350 and $500 a week. So when people look at a course price and they're like, wow, that's expensive, I can't afford it, well, they're using that wrong reference, because it's not buying a $3,000 handbag or a $2,000 phone. Those cost you money. Our course makes you money consistently, predictably, forever. So at 6 classes a week, you'd earn back your entire course investment in less than 8 weeks. I'll say it again, 6 classes a week, you will have paid for this entire course in 8 weeks. The rest of the 44 weeks for the year, that's money to you. That's money in your pocket, your account. Now, if you did 6 classes a week, that's $20,000 a year in your pocket. If you do 10 classes a week, it can be close to $40,000 a year. Your course investment will be covered in 4.5 weeks. So before you think this feels expensive, I'm not sure, I don't know if I can afford it, ask a more accurate question of what do I get in return? What does this earn me? What does this create for my future? Because here's the other part that most people never think about, and it's really the biggest cost of all. It's the opportunity cost of not doing this. The cost of going, like ignoring the video and going back to swiping through socials. Like how long have you been thinking about becoming an instructor? 6 months, a year, longer? So if you had started 6 months ago and you could have earned $20,000 by now, how would that have changed your life? What if you started a year ago? And if you bought this course, you'd still have $10,000 in your account or $20,000 or $30,000 in your account. Most people could have recouped their entire investment many times over in the time that many people choose to should I or should I not do a course. You see, staying stuck costs you more than anything. Waiting costs more than learning. Doing nothing is by far the most expensive choice. It's not a bag, it's not a phone. It is a profession. It's a qualification that creates an income, an identity, confidence, purpose, and freedom. And it pays you back every single week that you choose to teach. The question is not, is this course worth the money? It's how much more are you willing to lose in income by not taking action or starting? And the final thing I'll say on this is you get what you pay for. So are there courses out there cheaper than ours? Absolutely. Do they teach you Pilates? Yes. Will they teach you to be experts? No. And the reason we know this is between me and my team, we have completed every Pilates course out there. And there's a massive difference between those who make Pilates teachers and those who make exceptional instructors. None of them courses come close to the value, the expertise, the resources that we provide you in our course. In fact, a lot of our instructors who have done other courses come to our studio to work. We will put them through our course, and the course is chalk and cheese. The instructor quality that they have when they finish our courses is next level. So instead of worried about how much will I lose or is this worth it, let's think about how can we start to increase your income now? How can we start to make you a reformer Pilates qualified instructor ready to earn today? Doesn't that sound better? Doesn't that sound awesome? So let's jump into secret 3. Secret 3. You don't need to teach 100 classes to be the expert in the room. You are not an imposter, right? And many instructors believe that no matter how much prep they do, no matter how much programming they do for a class, they'll never be good enough. Or they'll never be good enough to teach. And many Pilates enthusiasts believe that they'll never be confident or know enough to be able to get in front of people and talk. In fact, there's a massive fear of public speaking. 9 out of 10 people say that public speaking is their biggest fear, which means 9 out of 10 people would prefer to be in the coffin than delivering the eulogy. The fear is real, and you've probably pictured yourself doing it. You can stand in front of 10 or 20 people, and you get that feeling. Your mind goes blank, you forget the words, you hear silence. Or crickets, everyone's looking at you, everyone's staring, your heart's racing, your thoughts become spaghetti. Your brain says to you, sucked in, you can't do this, you knew it, right? Well, that's imposter syndrome, and nearly every instructor experiences it, especially at the beginning. And here's the truth. Great presenters or great instructors don't wait till they feel ready. They learn how to command the room from the second they enter it. They create a presence, they create a connection, they create confidence, not through perfection, but through a process. And if it's a process or a skill set, then it can be taught. And this skill set transforms your confidence instantly. Like imagine there was a technique that made you memorable, engaging, confident, commanding attention immediately from the moment you open your mouth or the moment you walk into a studio. Like what if you could walk into any studio like you own the place? No fear, no hesitation, just certainty. Like wouldn't that be awesome? Like, wouldn't that be amazing to have that skill set to learn? Well, how about I teach you a snapshot of it right now? So for us, it's 4 words. And if you know these, you're halfway there. Touch 3 lighthouses confidently. I'll say it again. Touch 3 lighthouses confidently. So we'll talk about touch. So human touch, we know, is one of the most powerful bonding tools on the planet. So when something amazing happens in your life, a friend can send you a text or give you a compliment or send an emoji, but a touch on the shoulder, a hug, or a high five will give you that connection. You feel supported and like you did it. Well, that's the same in Pilates. And in the KT method, we build this into our warm-up from the get-go. The KT method starts with a double hamstring stretch. So everyone's lying on their back, they're holding the magic circle, toes are into the top of the circle, underarm grip, legs are straight, and they pull their legs over their head to stretch both hamstrings. Now, although we start with a hamstring stretch, it's got nothing to do with the stretch. It's about presence and authority. Everyone is doing the same thing at the same time with the same movement. And this moment allows you to connect their mind to their body because you don't know what's happened in each day for each client. So if it's early in the morning, they might be wiping sleep out of their eye. If it's the end of the day, their nervous system might be upregulated and they might be doing Pilates just to decompress, which means physically they're here, mentally they're probably still in the meeting from 2 hours ago. So how can we bring that presence here and now, which is what Pilates is? Well, we do this with touch. This becomes our first touch point. So while everyone's stretching, you will roam around the room and you'll give a small tactile correction here. You'll adjust the circle, correct a hand, give a pat, correct a foot position. You can assist increasing the stretch. You can hold this stretch for a minute, 2 minutes, 1 leg, 2 legs. This whole thing creates a connection point for you and every single client, and that instantly sets you as the expert. It's nothing big, it's no grand gesture, it's not awkward, but suddenly you've touched everyone in the room and you've created that connection. You've broken the touch barrier, and from that moment on, the room is yours. They want to follow your lead. That's the power of touch. The second one is 3. So touch 3. Well, 3 is learning styles, right? So there are 3 learning styles. So everyone has a combo of audio, visual, tactile. So the audio want to hear and repeat what you say. The visual like to tell a story or imagine, and the tactiles want to feel it. And most courses teach one style of cueing, and that's typically visual. Imagine your spine is this, imagine your pelvis is this. And if you're cueing in one learning style, you're leaving 2/3 of the room. So watch how this works. An audio might hear head tall, shoulders back and down, and they know just from that verbal description what to do. It's to the point, they love it, you tell them how to correct themselves. A visual likes to imagine, right? So you want to give a visual cue. Head tall, like you're wearing a crown, or shoulders back and down, like you're squeezing a banana. The visuals instantly associate themselves with either royalty or what to do from a compression standpoint, and they'll correct their position. Similar to the verbals, but now you've got the visuals as well. The tactiles want to feel what they should feel, know what they should feel, or actually physically feel what's going on. So for a tactile, you could potentially lift the top of the head and say head tall, and they'll know what to get. Or you can say head tall to feel a stretch at the back of your neck. And that little, okay, I know what to feel, instantly connects with them. So that tactile cue communicates everything they need to succeed in that movement. So each style gets it instantly, and that means less explaining, less repetition, which we hate, more connection, more results. So imagine teaching Pilates with cues so precise that every person in the room feels like you're speaking in their head to them alone or in their own body. Like that's a superpower, and you now have it. That's touch. In fact, as I was describing these 3 learning styles, you probably noticed that one of those resonated with you more than the other. Well, that's by design. That's a skill set. That is the KT method. And if we combined all of them and said something like head tall like you're wearing a crown, shoulders back and down like you're squeezing a banana, you should feel a small stretch in the back of your neck. Well, you now just cued all 3 styles in one sentence. Touch 3, right? The next one is lighthouses. And lighthouses are a pretty powerful image because it rotates, illuminates, it prevents ships from crashing into rocks. It can be interpreted as danger, but more importantly, it lets all who see focus on that one point. It's what ships look for when they're entering a harbour. So it can become a powerful reference point or a landmark. And in your Pilates class, you are the lighthouse. So before every session, you want to choose or find a lighthouse position. And that's a position in the studio where everyone can see you, you can see them, but more importantly, you can make eye contact with everyone. This is where you start the class, reset the pace, transition exercises, regroup if you lose your place. That's the point where you give instructions with confidence because you become the reference point, the lighthouse, the leader. And if anything goes wrong, you return to that lighthouse position, calm, centered, and in command. It's also where you finish your class. This point becomes your authority point or the class reference point. In fact, once you start doing this, you'll find in other classes, other clients will look to the same spot that you taught at because they identify that someone with authority spoke there, where you were. That was your spot, your authoritative spot. Like, how cool is that? So in your first class, you'll have memorized all your clients with authority straight away. And as a bonus, you can find your rock. Every class has a rock. And the rock is the person who loves Pilates, the enthusiast. When you walk in and say, hey, how's everyone's day? They're like, good, thanks. Like, they're the ones who sort of speak up. They will answer. And their answer is generally for everyone. And when you find them, when you find your rock and look at your rock, your energy lifts, your pace resets. You can look at your rock and see, what's the pace of the class? Do I need to make it harder? Do I need to make it easier? Are they bored? Do I need to liven it up? The rock's your pace setter. And what's super cool is if the rock likes your class, everyone likes your class. Simple, powerful. Like, how awesome is that? So we had touch, 3 lighthouses. The last one is confidence or confidently. So confidence doesn't come from being the best athlete in the room, the most flexible, or the strongest, or the fastest. Confidence comes from perspective. And what you forget when you teach your classes is that you've studied Pilates. You know more than every client in that room. You know how to adapt to injuries, modify for abilities. You can plan, modify, correct. You can lead your clients. The Pilates enthusiast can't. Even the most advanced Pilates enthusiast doesn't know what you know. They might be able to perform the exercises beautifully, but you can teach everyone exceptionally well. And this is why you don't need 100 classes to feel confident. You need a framework, a structure, a template, like a system that works every single time. In fact, wouldn't it be cool if you had that framework, that template, something that gives you confidence planning classes so that when you enter the class, you already know or you've already anticipated what the class needs. What happens if the exercise is too hard or too easy? What are the common mistakes clients will make? And what are the movement cues or corrections you're going to give to reaffirm that? Like, imagine that. Wouldn't that be awesome? Well, that's the KT method. Our KT template teaches you that. So it lets you plan sessions easily, adapt quickly, sequence exercises logically to create flow without disruption, modify for beginners or advanced, from warm-up all through the class all the way to cool down. Everything just works. It's minimal downtime, maximum confidence, and when you combine that with the touch 3 lighthouses confidently, you walk into every class with credibility, authority, a sense of calm, control. You'll have clients telling you it's the best class they've ever done. You're such an amazing instructor from your first class. And then they'll be asking you, where else are you teaching? Or what's your timetable? When can I come back? Like, isn't that cool? Doesn't that seem achievable? Confidence in every class, everywhere you go and teach. That's secret 3. You don't need 100 classes. You don't need to wait till you feel ready. You don't need to be perfect. You need a framework, and the KT method gives you that from day one. And once you learn it, you will never be an imposter. You are only a leader. You walk into every class, every studio with this confident presence, and every client in every class will follow you. Like, isn't that awesome? So let me ask you a question. We've been going for about 10 or 15 minutes now. And to be honest, I love it. I love educating. I love teaching. And I hope you've got a lot out of this. Hopefully you've had a couple of these little light bulb moments of, you know what, I can do this. I've got this. Because you've learned a few things already. But there's only so much I can teach you in such a short session. And I get it. It's almost like taking a sip of water from a fire hose. There's so much information. How do you learn, study, implement all of this? Well, if I was to ask you, if I had a way to continue this, that I could teach you to implement, I could teach you or certify you to become a confident in-demand instructor, would you be interested? Because if you are, I've put together a package and we're going to go through it. It's called the KT method. And it's designed to take you from like a curious Pilates enthusiast into a professional, confident, in-demand instructor in the shortest possible time. We take what we've covered today and we show you how to understand, implement, and create that structure over the next 6 to 12 weeks. And today was a snapshot. It was like a percentage of a percentage. So if it's okay, I'm going to spend a couple of minutes and just take you through what the program is. So what is the KT method? Well, the KT method is a reformer Pilates instructor program that not only teaches you Pilates, but it teaches you how to present, how to become an educator, an inspirational leader, and an entertainer, all within a class setting. And inside of this training, we're going to take you through the history and philosophy of Pilates. We're going to go through detailed reformer setup in between different reformers, safety, body positioning, and the inner and the outer core. There are two. Most courses skip it or they just don't know it. It'll make you a better instructor from day one. The KT method is the approach to teach and adapt to injuries or modifications or special populations like pregnant, adolescents, the elderly, anatomy and applied biomechanics, programming and class design, when to do something, when to put it in and how to do it, fitness principles, client assessment, including introducing a first timer to Pilates. And then we make you the expert of over 150 exercises with over 1,000 variations covering cueing, regressions to make it easier, progressions to make it harder, sequencing. This course is the culmination of hundreds of hours of analysis of our own studios where we have full classes, waiting lists, and great client retention, as well as years of planning and teaching and experience of treating pretty much every musculoskeletal condition and all the great bits of every course that I've ever done to then create our course. We've recorded over 250 videos, every exercise, every variation, every cueing pattern, every modification, and we've structured into a system that produces exceptional instructors fast. We've invested around $100,000 into filming, editing, software development, cheat sheets, hacks, course content, course design, so you don't have to do any of it, right? And then we've tried to make that the best student experience possible. And we could easily charge $10,000 for this because other courses do with far less content and far less precision. You will not find a course like ours on the market. And as I said, we've completed them all, so we know what they're offering. We built this course from what they were not teaching and what you need to know and understand to be successful. And we normally charge $4,997 for this course, but you won't pay that. Plus, I want to give you more value and I want to stack in more bonuses and have you pay less. So if that's okay, let me tell you about our little extras. So we thought, it's great having a really good course, but how do we make this more valuable for you? And the answer was, well, why not just throw in mat Pilates for free? Why not make you a mat Pilates instructor as well? It's the foundation of everything. It's where Pilates began. It teaches you control, precision, body awareness, and it transfers beautifully onto the reformer. So we built the KT mat program to match our world standard reformer program. So inside that, you're going to learn the full classical mat repertoire, the theory, the principles, the progressions, the exercises, the complete teaching and cueing system that integrates perfectly with the KT method. So instead of being trained in just reformer, you walk out with both qualifications, mat and reformer. More skills, more confidence, more opportunities. In fact, studios love hiring instructors who can do both, and you'll become far more versatile and valuable in the market. So by combining reformer and mat, you become a dual qualified Pilates instructor. And we charge $1,997 for mat. We're throwing that in. So you'll get the full reformer course, 150 exercises, over 1,000 variations, expertly cued, 5,000. You're also throwing in mat. So you get the entire mat repertoire, dual qualification that we sell for $2,000, so you're getting about $7,000 in value. But then we thought, well, it's great having a really comprehensive course, but how do you learn it all? Like, how do we make learning easy and fast for you? And the answer was obvious. Why not throw in some cheat sheets? Like little palm cards for every single exercise on both the reformer and mat. Like these palm cards or these cheat sheets will take 4 to 8 pages of exercise theory and condense it into a little 8-step framework that you can easily remember. No big textbooks, no endless notes, no highlighting. Take the complexity of each exercise into straightforward frameworks. Step-by-step cueing, fast memory recall, easy study review. And these cheat sheets took about 250 hours to build, but they're going to cut your study time in half. So instead of trying to remember everything for 150 exercises plus 1,000 variations, you just pull up a cheat sheet, follow the structure, teach with confidence. It is all there. It's the closest thing to having me in your pocket beside you, quietly coaching you through every exercise in every class. Like, isn't that awesome? So we've previously sold the cheat sheets alone, 500 for the reformer, 300 for the mat. We're throwing those in. So you get full reformer certification, 150 exercises, over 1,000 variations, expertly cued, 4,997. We're throwing in mat certification, the entire mat repertoire, dual certification, an extra 2,000 in value. The cheat sheets for the reformer and the mat. Halve your study time, rapid learn, teach every exercise with confidence. There's another $798. So far we're at like $7,800 in value. But here's something important. Most courses will give you access to their content for a time period, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, and then the login expires. You forget half of what you've learned, you're sort of left on your own to figure everything out. And I didn't want that for you because learning to teach Pilates, it's not a one and done event, it's a skill set that grows over time. So we built something that no other course does, lifetime access to our entire video library. Not for a year, not for 3 months, not for 2 years, forever. We have filmed every exercise in every position, every variation from multiple angles. We've added in the 3 different types of cueing. We've filmed the progressions and the regressions, the tactile cueing for every position and every exercise. Everything you need to teach beginners, athletes, injured clients, pregnant clients, seniors, adolescents, juniors, everyone. You'll never have to guess. You'll never have to hope to remember. You'll always know. And because you want to be able to plan classes fast, we built this in like a QR code reference sheet. So if you're planning a class, you can scroll to the exercise or scroll to the body part, scan the QR code, it'll take you straight to a video on how to teach it. You can watch the variations. You've got your own private coaching library on your phone, in your studio, wherever you are. It is lifetime access. No subscription, no annual cost, no expiry, no ticking clock. Anytime you want to refresh, whether it's before a class, during programming, when you learn a new cue, or when you meet a client with limitations, you can just quickly watch, apply, you're good to go. It's like having a mentor in your pocket. And we've sold this alone for $1,497. So what you're going to get, full reformer certification, over 150 exercises, 1,000 variations, expertly cued, 5,000. Mat certification, entire mat repertoire, dual certification, another 2,000. Cheat sheets for the reformer and the mat. Rapid study, halve your learning, teach with confidence, another $800. Lifetime access to all of our video content, $1,497. So in total, you've got like $9,200 worth of value. Now, as I said, there are courses out there that cost $10,000 just for the course without any of the add-ons, and I'm throwing in everything. So we could probably charge $15,000 for our course, and it's worth it. It's the most comprehensive course on the market, and I'm giving you so much expertise and help. But I don't want to charge that. I don't want to even charge half of that. So let me ask you this. If all this course did was teach you more about your body and more about Pilates than you ever thought possible, would it be worth it? If it helped you earn between $20,000 and $40,000 a year, working less than 10 hours a week, would it be worth it? Or if I gave you the tools to build your own base of raving fans or potentially your own studio, would it be worth it? Let me show you how to get started. It's not going to cost you $20,000. It's not going to cost you $9,291. It's not going to cost you the cost of a single reformer course of $4,997. If you enroll today, everything is yours for $3,497. Now, I had two choices. I could go cheap and I could try and sell as many as possible to as many people as possible, but it doesn't really motivate me to help you become the best instructor possible. And the KT Foundation is that. Or I can charge a slightly reasonable investment that you'll completely forget about in 3 months when you're earning $500 to $1,000 a week anyway, and devote every resource possible to guarantee your success. Remember, if you spent $1 with me and got paid $5, $10, or $20 in return, it would be totally worth it. Now you have two choices. Option one is do nothing. Stay where you are, don't change a thing. It's risk-free because nothing will happen. Time will pass, there's more opportunity cost, and in 6 months' time or a year's time, you see my video and think, maybe I should do it. Or option two, take this leap of faith, invest today, which is also risk-free, because my rule is I can't make you money, I don't deserve yours. So why is mine risk-free? Well, we have a 30-day guarantee. So if for whatever reason you're not happy with our course, I don't care if it's day 29, hour 23, minute 59, email me, I'll refund you. As a side note, this course is not only recognised for 20 CCs, which is the highest accreditation in Australia, but it's also recognised internationally. So you can work overseas with our qualifications. So I mentioned at the start, stay to the end, I'm going to give you a roadmap to build your own 6-figure studio, the link's appearing below. So imagine this for a moment. In 3 months' time, you're a certified instructor, you're teaching classes, you're earning an extra $500 to $1,000 a week, you're loving what you do, you're earning from your passion, you're planning your next holiday, you're potentially purchasing your own home, you're paying down a mortgage fast, possibly even planning your own studio. And the investment of $3,497 into this course, you'll barely remember it because you're too busy living a life full of confidence, income, and impact. And we only want motivated and curious students to become exceptional instructors. We do not want your average run-of-the-mill teacher. So if this is you, let's get started. I can't wait to teach you Pilates so that you can teach Pilates to the world. Join today, become qualified tomorrow. I hope to see you soon.